Hey guys, and welcome to Tnashi's Movie Corner. Today, we will be doing a movie versus battle between The Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Evolution. As you can imagine, these are going to be on which one succeeds as being the biggest shit in cinema history. Because that's pretty much what they are. Anyway, Dragon Ball Evolution came out in 2009. Oh god, I forgot about that year. And Last Airbender came out in 2010. Now normally when we do these reviews, we'd be going based off of plot, main characters, side characters, songs, humor, villain, cast, romance, themes, memorability, and so on. But we're not really doing that with these because they all suck at them. So realistically, I'm just going to go over some points between both movies here, and we're going to determine which one's the worst. Oh, this was really hard. I'm not going to lie, this was really difficult to decide because they're both just, they're so bad. Don't watch these. If you haven't seen them, please, dear God, don't watch them. Anyway, if you thought that I was going to be sounding like this for the entire video, and you thought, man, that's a trolley voice, well guess what? It is a trolley voice, because these movies trolled me. Oh my god, they did. It was really, really bad. I lost some years of my life. But in any case, I'm not actually going to be doing this for the entire, review here. This entire verses. So I'm going to get back to my regular voice now and give your ears a little peace, okay? Anyway, wow. Seriously though, like, these movies were so bad. You got The Last Airbender, which was directed and written by M. Night Shyamalan, which was based upon the TV series Avatar, The Last Airbender, which was a popular show both among kids and through adults, right? And this movie's supposed to be like the show. It follows the adventures of Aang, or Ong, as he's, as they say in the movie, a young successor to a long line of avatars who must master all four elements and stop the Fire Nation from enslaving the water tribes in the Earth Kingdom. Now here's the thing. Again, this is actually based off of the show, and it's based off the first book of the show. There are 3. So, and from I had a lot of hype for this movie, honestly. I have all 3 of the show's seasons for the show on DVD, and on the DVD in the DVD box set for season 2, they did an interview with M. Night Shyamalan and the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, to which they showcase how excited they were for this movie, for the prospect of this movie, and that M. Night was a huge fan, and his kids were big fans of this series, and that he wanted to do the movie justice, and that he brought the movie before these guys, and they brought the script, and it was really, the movie was like over 3 hours long, because it was the entire, as much as the first season as he could fit in the script. He wanted to keep everything, and they told him, of course, he can't do that, so he had to go back and edit it out. So I was excited, despite M. Night's shortcomings up to this point. He had some hits, he had some misses. I was excited because I was hoping that I was going to see this brilliant show that I love so much, and that a lot of people love so much, translated really well by a fan to the big screen. It's not what we got at all. We got horrible dialogue and acting. Some of it a little understandable because it was first-time actors. Most of it not. We got some really crappy action scenes that just didn't work. The plot was cut together in a very choppy and poor format, so I didn't like that. It's basically, you had the personalities of these characters that we love for the show weren't the same at all. They were overly serious, and it just, none of that worked for me. But then we go to Dragon Ball Evolution, okay? Dragon Ball Evolution, the young warrior Son Goku sets out on a quest racing against time and the vengeful King Piccolo to collect a set of 7 magical orbs that will grant their wielder unlimited power. Now here's the thing, and I should have said this about Last Airbender. We know when they're converted, when anything's converted from being a book, a comic, or a show, or anything like that, to being a movie, there's going to be changes. That's fine. as long as the changes are done right, as long as it comes across good, it works. James Wong was the director of this movie. Ben Ramsey did the screenplay. Okay. Again, you had some actors and actresses I didn't really know, so they might not have been in anything else prior. I know a couple of them were, though. Yoon Fat Chow, I think he was in something else. He was in a few things before, so. But this obviously being Dragon Ball Evolution, based upon the Dragon Ball series, not the Dragon Ball Z series, still was looking forward to it, was looking forward to the action pieces that we got from Dragon Ball, looking forward to King Piccolo. It sounded like there was potential here, and actually Akira Toriyama, who did the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z series, came out and said that he was excited about this because it was going to take the show in new directions, but he was excited for what they were doing with it, right? The movie comes out and it sucks. Again, acting horrible, action horrible. There were supposed to be comedy moments. They tried, but they didn't work very well. Didn't stick anywhere near the source material, and the plot was so kind of all over the place, and the characters were nothing like the characters that there were in the show. So none of that worked, and Akira Toriyama came out and said that after he actually did that interview, to which he kind of praised this movie a little bit and said he was excited, they actually used none of his ideas. He is the creator of this series. You're using his property, and you're not even going to listen to the guy at all. And apparently the movies went in a different direction than what he even saw it going. So, yeah, pretty bad. When comparing the two, honestly, it's really hard because, again, both of them bad acting, bad action, bad plot, failed to deliver the plot properly, no good humor or no real humor, so they all don't work on that accord. If we want to get specific on the action for a second, the action was worse in Last Airbender to me. When we're going through this, the fight sequences and Dragon Ball, they try to keep a little bit of the fighting style. They don't succeed in it looking well, but they do try a little bit. And when they do the air attacks, it does, the Kamehamehas, I should say, they do look like just air. It just looks like wind going. And I understand that. But in Last Airbender, they are seriously doing a series of moves, trying to, I guess, imitate what they do in the show when they use their bending powers. But they would do these series of moves in front of these bad guys, and the bad guys would do it in front of them. And then, like 5 minutes later, all of a sudden, a little rock would go towards, the Fire Nation, and the Fire Nation would send like a little fireball towards them. So the action, it was supposed to be in sync. It looked completely out, and it just didn't work whatsoever. So there's that. When it comes to the character's portrayal, that's really quite a big toss up there. You can pick your poison on that one. I think they're both really bad, and none of them really fit the characters like they're supposed to. You have Aang, who's an overly serious, emotional kid, which wasn't what we had at all from the show. There would be moments, sure, but they were spread throughout the entire series, where as mostly he's a lighthearted person. You didn't get that. In Dragon Ball Evolution, you got Goku, who's just this kid with anger issues and wants to kind of abuse his power on end, and he's not the quirky, fun-loving guy that we had in Dragon Ball and in Dragon Ball Z. So that doesn't work. And none of the side characters really work either. The villains don't work as far as what we're seeing. They have no real presence on the screen that connects you to anything that they were brought from. So we don't see any of that translated over and done well. So there's that. The thing is with Dragon Ball, it does have comedy. Last Airbender doesn't have much, but Dragon Ball actually tries to do comedy, and it just does it so horribly bad. And the plot for Dragon Ball is actually a little worse than Last Airbender, because Last Airbender uses at least some elements from the series that, they may not work well, they may not be delivered well as everyone would have hoped, but they at least used a little of the source material. Dragon Ball Evolution didn't use much of the source material at all. You have some names, you don't even have all the names in there, of the characters. So there's some characters in Dragon Ball that played a role like Krillin, and he wasn't even in the movie. And the plot is just kind of very much out there and doesn't stick with any of the source material whatsoever, and is done poorly. So, there is that. On the other hand, and Last Airbender, you have a guy that watched the show, and yet all the names are pronounced, the names are pronounced bad. And like, Aang is not Ong. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work. So, that goes there. But really what kills it for me for Last Airbender, and why it's the worst one of the two, is The Last Airbender, quite literally, it had a higher budget to do it. It was a theatrical released movie. Had a higher budget going into it. And it killed any future Last Airbender movies. It killed the possibility for that. And they were marketing it as the start of a franchise, and it quite literally killed the franchise in the first movie, to where they don't even touch it. Dragon Ball Evolution, for as bad as it is, was only supposed to be one movie. Like, they didn't have it set up to be continual series of movies. I'm sure if it had done well, it would have been a different story, but it obviously it didn't do well, so it didn't get that. But realistically, these movies, yeah, they're horrible. I don't recommend you seeing any of them. They're just, oh man, they're just so bad. For me personally, Last Airbender, I thought it would win this fight. It does win this fight, and I think it deservedly wins this fight, because not only do you have bad acting, bad action, you don't even have very good CG involved. You have a plot that's all over the place. You have characters that don't fit with any of the essence of what they were, either physically or just emotionally, like how they act or anything from the show. So you have none of that. On top of that, this movie was so bad that it stopped the franchise from starting on the ground floor. So that's just, that's when like a movie just doesn't work. Whereas Dragon Ball Evolution, as bad as it was, it didn't have the budget that Last Airbender did. It is kind of based on a love series, but I don't think it's as beloved as, Avatar was. And at the same time, they didn't really kill a franchise with it. They killed the potential for one, but they didn't actually kill it. Last Airbender quite literally set up for a continuation. It was supposed to be at least 3 movies, and it didn't work. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Like I said, the winner would be Last Airbender. But what do you think? Have you actually seen these movies? If so, God have mercy on your soul. Hopefully you didn't lose too much time over it. And which one do you think of the two is the worst? I'm actually curious on there. There's really no wrong answer. They're both so bad. And also, in the future, I will be sure to warn you before I use this voice. Because, honestly, these movies were so trolly, I couldn't help but use this kind of voice for these reviews. But at least I didn't use it for the whole thing, right? Right? Guys, you're still watching, yeah? Oh, no. Well, later.